James Crumbley's attorneys claim secret agreements with witnesses robbed him of a fair trial. Fox News' Scott Wolchuk has more on why the Crumbleys say their son should have been forced to take the stand.
James Crumbley, who was sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison for 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, is seeking a new trial.
It is the only way to make Mr. Crumbley whole. It is the only way to correct the violation of the court rule.
James Crumbley was accused of buying the gun his son used in the Oxford High School shooting that killed 4 students and injured many others in November 2021. His son was sentenced to life in prison. James Crumbley now arguing his own trial was unfair. His attorney, Alona Sharon, requesting a new trial, saying the prosecution made immunity agreements with 2 witnesses that weren't disclosed.
Obviously, the plain language of the proffer agreement promised Hopkins and EJAC that any evidence or information that was provided to the prosecution during these proffer meetings could not be used against them in the prosecution's case in chief.
Sharon also arguing if the Oxford shooter had testified or if his medical records had been permitted, key information would have changed the outcome.
It was uncontested because EC didn't testify. It was uncontested because his medical records couldn't come in at trial. Because if there's one thing my brief makes clear with citations to the CFP report is that this child told the Center for Forensic Psychiatry that he never told his parents he needed help, specifically his father.
Assistant Prosecutor Mark Keast arguing the prosecution did not promise immunity and that the Oxford shooter planned to plead the Fifth if called to testify. Most of all, he argued none of the defense's allegations would have changed the case's outcome.
James Crumbley was convicted because of the choices that he made, the choices that led directly to the deaths of Hannah, of Madison, of Tate, and in Justin. It was James Crumbley's gross negligence. It was James Crumbley's causation and his foreseeability that was the reason for his conviction, Judge. The evidence in this case was overwhelming.
Judge Cheryl Matthews says she plans to make a ruling within a month. Scott Wolchuk, Fox 2 News.